Well, hello there, folks. How are you? It's Kenneth James Kerr once again, and thank you so much for joining me today in the video library. I do appreciate you being here today. Now, today we're going to take a look at vignette number 4 from This Book is the Perfect Gift. And if you have the paperback edition, according to my notes up there, you'll find it on page 12. And if you have the hardback, look on page 18. And if you don't have either of the books, take a look underneath this video player. So here is the quotation from that vignette. You are too brilliant to allow your mind to focus on the clouds when blue sky is still there. Let me say it again. You are too brilliant to allow your mind to focus on the clouds when blue sky is still there. Let me talk about the illustration behind this particular vignette. I think you've figured out by now that at this time I live on the prairies in Canada, in the province of Saskatchewan. Now, one of the characteristics of living in a wee village in Saskatchewan is, other than the basics of life, if you want to get anything else, you have to travel to a city. And the truth of the matter is that's hundreds of miles. And so on this particular occasion, we had to go to the city of Regina, and we set off, and it was one of those days where no matter where you looked, it was cloudy. We were travelling kind of northwest, and if you looked straight ahead, well, it was cloudy. If you looked away up to the north, it was cloudy. If you looked down to the south, it was cloudy. If you looked in your rear view mirror, even there you could see that it had been cloudy. And then about halfway to the city, I noticed a change. I looked way ahead, and guess what? There was this wee tiny sliver of blue sky just appearing through the clouds. And there was something about that that impressed me. I mean, I couldn't take my eyes off it. And I thought how easy it is to focus on the clouds when there's still a bit of blue sky up there. And I made the decision to keep an eye on that blue sky. And at some point I wrote this: you are too brilliant to allow your mind to focus on the clouds when blue sky is still there. Now today what I want to do is to expand on that idea, and to also expand on what you've got in your book. That's one of the reasons that I'm doing this video library. Expand on the material, give new illustrations, give new ideas around the themes, and so on. And today we're going to do that as well. Today what I want to do is talk about 3 realities that are based upon the illustration and based upon that event that took place that I've now talked about with you. 3 realities. Here's the first one. Reality number 1, life is always a mixture of sun and cloud. Here on the prairie, I don't often listen to the radio, and therefore I very rarely listen to weather forecasts, but sometimes I'll listen to a forecast and they'll say, today is going to be a mixture of sun and cloud. I remember the very first time I heard that phrase, I thought, what kind of vague rubbish is that? Like, just tell us, just admit you don't have a frickin' clue what's going to happen, right? Today is a mixture of sun and cloud. And then later on I got thinking about it and I thought, you know what, that's absolutely true. And what an illustration, what a commentary on life itself. Reality 1, life is always a mixture of sun and cloud. There will be days when the blue sky is all there is, when you're just sailing along in the sunshine, when life is just hunky-dory and everything is fantastic. And oh, relish those days, people. Enjoy them to the full. But there will be days when the you-know-what hits the fan. There will be times when it all goes south. There will be time when there are hurts and pains and challenges and concerns and the dark times and the clouds roll in, and at times it seems all you can see is the cloud from horizon to horizon in your life. Now, if we think that life is anything other than that interplay, then we're absolutely going to delude ourselves. Oh, I know there are some people in the industry that I'm in, this personal development industry. I know there are some people that try to push the notion of everything's fine, everything's always great. You know what? That's garbage. It's not always great. It's not always fine. It's not always rosy. I'm not going to try and tell you that to try and sell more books. No. Reality. Life is always a mixture of sun and cloud. We delude ourselves if we think it is not that way. We better get used to it. That's what life's about. That is the truth. And if we believe exclusively that it's always perfect, or we believe exclusively that it's always a challenge, either of those positions is wrong, because life is always a mixture of sun and cloud. That is reality. Reality number 2. You ultimately have the choice of what you focus on. Let me say it again. You ultimately, and by the way, always have the choice of what you focus on. Now you think again about my drive out to Regina that day. I could have chosen to focus only on the clouds despite the fact there was this wee bit of blue. Or I could have chosen to focus on the blue despite the fact that there were clouds. It was my choice. I was aware enough to realize it was my choice. And so I chose to keep an eye on the blue. You have a choice today. No matter what the circumstances are, no matter what the situations are in your life, no matter what. Whether it's totally dull, totally bright, or somewhere in between, even in the midst of the circumstances, you still have the right to choose what you focus on. That's why I say you are too brilliant to allow your mind to focus on the clouds when the blue sky is still there. You are as brilliant as the brilliant sunshine. And part of your brilliance is expressed in the fact that you have the ability to choose your focus. And so do I. So where is your focus? Again, bearing in mind that there is always an interplay, truly, of light and dark. Where do you put your focus? You know, some people habitually only focus on the concept of sunshine, even when there are clouds. It's like the person who has a garden and who sees a weed and then he says, there are no weeds, there are no weeds, there are no weeds. Well, I'm sorry, but they'll take over your garden, right? Some people only focus on the good. And while that is good in many ways, if they do not notice that there's something challenging that needs their attention, they might be headed for disaster. But it's a choice of focus, isn't it? Again, some people only focus on the bad, even though there's sunshine around them. It's this old concept of the glass is half full or the glass is half empty, isn't it? It's where you put your focus. It's what you think. It's what you see. It's what you perceive. It's your bent of how you think. Well, some people only ever see the bad. Hey, it's a beautiful day today. Yeah, it's going to rain. Hey, do you like my new car? Yeah, my mate had one of those. Was never out the bloomin' shop. What? You can choose where you put your focus. Here's the key. Do not overly focus on only one position to the point where you do not notice the foundational reality that life is a mixture of sun and cloud. Be aware in your focus and make choices in your focus. Now, why is it important to make choices? Because the world will try to make the thought choices for you. There's always a narrative pushed by the media, a narrative pushed by a politician, a narrative pushed by fill in the blank. There are always those voices who would be happy to tell you what to think. But you must exercise your choice as to what you think in every and all situation. Very, very, very important, because that's your brilliance and that's your reality. Number 3, please be appropriate in your choice of what you focus on in the conditions of life. I kind of hinted on it a minute ago, but let's talk about it a wee bit more. When I say you're too brilliant to allow your mind to focus on the clouds when blue sky is still there, what I'm saying is choose to notice the good amongst the bad, or choose to notice the bad amongst the good. Make a choice of your focus, but please understand what I'm not saying is when the you-know-what hits the fan, completely ignore the fact that the you-know-what is hitting the fan and just create this artificial thought of everything's rosy. No, that's not it. Reality number 3 is be appropriate in your choice of thoughts. You will remember on the previous vignette, I talked about when I lost my mum and dad within about 3 weeks of each other. And I had my gratitude rock, which is sitting beside me here. Okay? If somebody had said to me just after losing mum and dad, oh, just focus on the good, just focus on the good, I would have felt like hitting them. If you've just lost somebody and somebody says to you, oh, it's going to be okay, call BS on them. Yes, it might eventually be okay, but you've got to go through the process of the pain in order to heal. There are times when it's okay to hurt in the midst of despair. There are times when you've got to feel the pain, you've got to feel the hurt, you've got to feel the offense. That is part and parcel of life. But even in those moments, it is imperative that we have the understanding that somewhere the sun is still shining. And yes, if you do see it, allow the sunshine into your awareness. And then balance appropriately where your thoughts are, where your focus is. It's okay to feel the hurt. But at the same time, folks, it's okay to feel the joy. Again, you think of how our world has gone through an unbelievable challenge the last 3 years. So many people have lost the joy of life. They've forgotten how to smile. They've forgotten how to laugh. They've forgotten how to be happy. I was so pleased a couple of days ago. Today's January 4th. I was so pleased a couple of days ago. On the internet, I was looking around live feeds from some of the cities and to see, for example, the Eiffel Tower in Paris all lit up and millions of people out there enjoying themselves. And I said, oh, thank God, the joy is coming back. When it's joyful, when it's blue skies, when things are great, it's okay to focus on it and be happy. But when the times are tough, it's okay to feel the feelings and to honor the feelings as well. But again, you have a choice as to what you focus on. Folks, this is a very important lesson. Why? Because it is true, as we said, life is always an interplay of cloud and sunshine. Please do not get yourself so stuck in feeling or thinking in a particular way that you can no longer function intelligently or appropriately in your world? Be aware. Be aware. There is always some sunshine somewhere, and there's always some clouds somewhere. Be aware that you have the right to choose your thoughts, your focus, your reaction and response. Always. And exercise that right. Don't let others do the thinking for you. And also, please be aware. It's okay. In fact, it's necessary to exercise appropriate thought and feeling as we go through the conditions of sun and cloud. I sincerely hope this video has been useful to you. Again, you know what? There are themes within this lesson that we're going to touch on many, many, many times. And I hope this one helps you today. Thank you for joining me. This is Kenneth James Kerr, and I will see you in the next video.